I built this company from nothing, I said, leaning back in my chair. People stay loyal because I pay them well. My assistant hesitated. Sir, loyalty isn't always about. It is, I cut in. Money buys respect. Comfort buys love. She nodded, but her silence felt heavy. At home, I loosened my tie and said, "You didn't answer my message." My wife looked up from the kitchen counter. "You didn't ask a question." "That's not the point," I replied. "I expect replies." She wiped her hands slowly. "You expect many things." I scoffed. "I provide everything. This house. This life." "I never asked for this house," she said. I laughed. "You married a CEO. Don't pretend comfort didn't matter." Her eyes didn't change. "You think that's why I married you?" I shrugged. "Why else?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. "Dinner's ready." I checked my phone. A message lit up. "Can't wait to see you tonight." I typed back under the table. "Later. Busy." She noticed. "Work again?" "Yes," I said. "Someone has to earn." She sat across from me. "You think I don't contribute?" I didn't look up. "Not financially." Silence stretched. "I gave up my job for you," she said quietly. "I never asked you to," I replied. "That was your choice." She nodded once. "Everything is a choice to you." I stood. "You live comfortably. That's the result." "Is that all you think matters?" she asked. I turned. "What else is there?" She stared at me like she was searching for something lost. "I hope one day you hear yourself." I smiled coldly. "I hear facts." My phone buzzed again. "He doesn't deserve you," the message read. I slipped my jacket on. "I have a meeting." "At night?" she asked. "Important investors," I said. She didn't argue. That annoyed me more than shouting would have. In the car, I called my assistant. "Cancel tomorrow's lunch with my wife." "Sir," she said carefully, "she asked for that meeting." "I'm busy," I replied. "You're always busy," she said, then stopped herself. "Sorry." I frowned. "What's your tone?" "Yes, sir." At the restaurant, the lights were low. She smiled when she saw me. "You look tired," she said. "I work hard," I replied. She touched my hand. "You deserve someone who understands that." I thought of my wife's quiet face. I pushed the thought away. "She married comfort," I said. "Not me." "Then you're lucky," she whispered. "I love you for you." That felt good. Easy. When I got home late, the house was dark. A note waited. "I heated your dinner." I crumpled it. She should know better. The next morning, my assistant said, "Sir, your wife called." "What for?" I asked. She didn't say. I waved it off. "She'll be fine." My phone buzzed again. "When will you leave her?" I replied without thinking. "Soon." At breakfast, my wife finally spoke. "Do you love me?" I laughed softly. "Of course. I married you." "That's not what I asked," she said. I checked my watch. "I don't have time for this." She stood. "One day, you'll realize money never bought my heart." I walked past her. "Don't be dramatic." As I closed the door, I told myself I was right. I always was. "Smile," I whispered as we reached the table. "You're embarrassing me already." My wife looked at the guests, then at me. "I'm just quiet." "That's the problem," I said, loud enough for a few heads to turn. A colleague laughed. "Rough day?" "She enjoys the results," I replied, lifting my glass. "Not the work." My wife stiffened. "That's not true." I smiled tightly. "You live in luxury. You didn't earn it." The table fell silent. She said calmly, "I earn it in ways you don't count." I scoffed. "Feelings don't pay bills." Someone cleared their throat. "Perhaps we should." "No," I said. "She needs to hear this." My wife met my eyes. "Why now?" "Because I'm tired of pretending," I replied. "People think you're my partner." "Aren't I?" she asked. I laughed. "You married comfort." Her voice stayed steady. "You married convenience." That stung, and I hated that it did. I stood. "Excuse us." In the hallway, I hissed, "Don't challenge me in public." "You challenged me," she said. "I provide everything," I snapped. "The least you can do is be grateful." She folded her hands. Gratitude isn't love. Don't start, I warned. She nodded once. We're done here. On the drive home, she stared out the window. I told myself silence meant surrender. At home, I grabbed my phone. A message waited. You handled that well, my fiancé wrote. Some women forget their place. I smiled. Later, as I walked past the study, I heard my wife's voice. No, she said softly. I don't need the money. I stopped. I'm fine, Mom, she continued. Please don't worry. I leaned closer, annoyed. I didn't marry him for that, she said. I never did. I rolled my eyes. Drama. I won't take it, she added. He'd misunderstand. She hung up. I stepped away before she saw me. People always defended their pride. My phone buzzed again. Dinner tomorrow? Just us, my fiancé wrote. Yes, I replied. The next morning, she met me outside my office. You didn't call last night, she said, pouting. I was busy, I replied. With her? She asked, smiling sweetly. I smirked. She knows her place. Good, she said. You deserve someone who appreciates what you offer. That felt right. That evening, my wife set tea in front of me. How was work? Productive, I said. Unlike tonight. She didn't react. I spoke to my mother. I frowned. Why? She worries, she said. She wants money, I replied flatly. She offered help, my wife said. I refused. I laughed. Don't pretend you're noble. She met my eyes. Why is that hard to believe? Because everyone wants something, I said. She stood slowly. I never wanted your money. I waved a hand. You enjoy what it brings. She paused at the doorway. Enjoyment isn't motivation. I checked my phone. Another message waited. I miss you already. I typed back. Soon. Behind me, my wife spoke. If I had nothing, she asked quietly, no status, no comfort, no benefit to you. I turned, irritated. What kind of question is that? Would you still love me? She finished. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. She nodded like she expected that. Good night. She walked away. I stayed where I was, staring at my phone, telling myself silence was an answer. I just didn't like what it felt like. Just sign here, the lawyer said, sliding the papers toward me. I barely glanced at them. This ends today, right? Yes, he replied. Once signed, it's final. I picked up the pen. Good. My wife sat across from me. Calm. Silent. You don't have anything to say? I asked. She shook her head. You've already decided. That's not an answer, I said. She met my eyes. What would you like me to say? Defend yourself, I snapped. Deny it. Deny what? She asked. That you married me for comfort, I said. She exhaled slowly. If that's what you believe, no words will change it. The lawyer cleared his throat. Shall we proceed? I signed without reading a line. The pen felt heavier than it should have. That's it? I asked, leaning back. No tears. She stood. I won't beg for someone who never listened. Her voice didn't shake. That unsettled me. You're making a mistake, I said. She nodded. We both are. In different ways. I laughed. You'll regret walking away from this life. She paused. I already left it a long time ago. She turned and walked out. The lawyer avoided my eyes. I'll file this immediately. Do it, I said. I'm done. Outside, my phone buzzed. Finally free, my fiancé texted. I knew you'd choose yourself. I replied. I always do. At the board meeting that afternoon, I announced it casually. My wife and I are separating, I said. Mutual decision. A board member frowned. Personal matters affect public trust. I'm in control, I replied. That won't change. He studied me. Just be careful who you trust. I smiled. I trust myself. That night, I carried my bags into my fiancé's apartment. She kissed me. Welcome home. This is temporary, I said. Until the divorce is public. She laughed. You're still hiding? I manage perception, I replied. She poured wine. You managed her out of your life. That should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt quiet. The next morning, headlines broke. CEO separates from wife after years of marriage. Messages flooded in. Support. Curiosity. Gossip. I enjoyed the attention. People are on your side, my fiancé said, scrolling. They think she was lucky. She was, I said. Days later, I returned to the house to collect the rest of my things. She wasn't there. The rooms echoed. I walked into the study and stopped. One box sat on the table. I frowned. That's it. Inside were photos. Not jewelry. Not gifts. Photos of us when I had nothing. Handwritten notes. Encouragements. You'll succeed. I believe in you. Receipts fell out. Hospital bills. Unpaid. My name was on them. I stared. I flipped one over. Paid in full. Her signature. My chest tightened. I remembered nights she said she was tired. I thought she was bored. I found another note. I didn't tell you because you were already carrying enough. My phone buzzed. Did you get your things? My fiancé asked. Yes, I said. Good, she replied. No emotional baggage. I looked at the box. I'm throwing it away, I said. Perfect, she said. You're finally letting go. I ended the call. I stood there longer than I meant to. The house felt unfamiliar. I closed the box and carried it outside. At the trash bin, I stopped. My hand trembled. I told myself it was nothing. Just paper. Just memories. Things money couldn't buy. I dropped the box. The lid cracked open. A photo slid out. Her smiling at me, holding my first business card. I remembered her saying, I don't need anything from you. I told myself she lied. I turned away. Control meant not looking back. That's what I believed. That's what I told myself as I walked away, leaving behind the only proof that she had loved me when I had nothing. This place is too quiet, my fiancé said, kicking off her heels. Your ex barely existed anyway. I poured a drink. She preferred silence. Or she knew her limits, she replied, laughing. I didn't stop her. At dinner she said, I don't know how you lived with someone so dull. She was practical, I said. She was invisible, my fiancé corrected. You upgraded. That word stuck with me. The next morning, my assistant didn't come in. I called her. Where are you? I resigned, she said calmly. What? I asked. You can't just leave. I already did, she replied. Good luck. She hung up. At the office, a board member asked, have you noticed delays? Temporary, I said. 3 contracts fell through, he replied. Without explanation. They'll return, I said. He studied me. They already chose silence. That word again. At lunch, a former employee approached me. I heard about the divorce, he said. So? I replied. She helped us more than you think, he said. I paid her nothing, I snapped. She never asked, he replied. That was the difference. He walked away. That night, my fiancée laughed at a photo online. Look at her, she said. Plain even without your name. I forced a smile. She never wore your gifts, she continued. Suspicious, right? She didn't like attention, I said. She liked control, my fiancé said. Just not yours. I drank more than I should have. Later, alone, I dialed my wife's number. It rang. Then stopped. I tried again. Nothing. I told myself it was pride. I needed documents. That was all. The next day, investors canceled meetings. No emails. No calls. Just absence. At home, my fiancé complained. Why aren't you fixing this? I said. Your ex cursed you, she joked. Women like that do. I snapped, stop talking about her. She raised her brows. Still sensitive. No, I said. Just annoyed. That night, I lay awake. I remembered her voice. You don't have to prove anything, she once said. I remembered laughing. I'll carry the risk, she said back then. I remembered ignoring her. At the office, a silent investor finally spoke. We don't trust instability, he said. I am stable, I replied. You weren't loyal, he said. That's personal, I snapped. Everything is connected, he replied. The call ended. I checked my account records. She never took a settlement. Not a transfer. Not a demand. I frowned. At dinner, I asked, did she ever ask you for money? My fiancé scoffed. Why would she? She lost. She left empty-handed, I said. Because she had nothing, my fiancé replied. That didn't sit right. I stood. I'm going out. Again? She asked. Chasing ghosts. I didn't answer. In the car, I remembered her pushing my resume across the table. Just apply, she said. I'll believe until you can. I remembered snapping, stop pitying me. She smiled anyway. I called her again. Straight to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I didn't know what to say. At home, my fiancé said, "You're distracted." "I'm tired," I replied. She smirked. "Regret is expensive." I looked at her. She laughed. "Relax. You chose right." I nodded. But the house felt loud. Her silence had been heavier. She never took money. Not when she left. Not when she stayed. That realization sat in my chest. Quiet. Unmovable. And for the first time, I wondered if silence wasn't weakness at all. Maybe it was strength I never learned to hear. "Sir, there's something you should see," the auditor said, sliding a folder toward me. I frowned. "Make it quick." "These payments," he said, tapping the pages. "They covered company debts 5 years ago." "I covered those," I replied. He shook his head. "Not from company accounts." I leaned forward. "Then from where?" "Personal savings," he said. "From your wife." I laughed once. "Impossible." He flipped the page. "Dates match your failed expansion." My throat tightened. Why wasn't I told? "She requested confidentiality," he said. "Specifically." I stared at the numbers. Large numbers. Why would she do that? I asked. He hesitated. "She said your pride mattered more than credit." I dismissed him. "That's enough." But it wasn't. Outside, I dialed a number I hadn't saved. Her brother answered. "What do you want?" "Why did she pay my debts?" I demanded. He laughed bitterly. "You still don't know?" "Know what?" I snapped. "She sold our grandmother's house," he said. I froze. "That house wasn't for sale." "It was to her," he replied. "To protect you." I clenched my jaw. "She never said anything." "That was the point," he said. "She didn't want you to feel small." I swallowed. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you destroyed her," he said. "And you still think you're the victim." "I didn't ask her to," I said weakly. "She knew," he replied. "That's why she did it." I heard papers rustle. "Medical bills," he added. "She covered those too." My chest burned. "Why?" "Because she loved you," he said. "Even when you made her feel worthless." I ended the call. My hands shook. That evening, my fiancée smiled brightly. "You look pale," she said. "Bad day?" I watched her carefully. "Did you know my wife paid my debts?" She blinked. "Why would she?" "She sold property," I said. She scoffed. "Sounds like a story." "She had receipts," I said. My fiancée laughed lightly. "She probably forged them." "That's not funny," I said. She rolled her eyes. "You're getting sentimental." "Did you ever lie to me?" I asked. She tilted her head. "About what?" "About her," I said. She smiled. "I told you what you needed to hear." That answer felt wrong. Later, I opened an old email folder. Messages I ignored. I handled it. "Don't worry. Focus on your work." My name signed every success. Her silence paid every failure. I sat down. Shame crept in. Not regret. Shame. The kind that sticks. I remembered accusing her. "You married comfort," I had said. She never corrected me. I remembered her saying, "I don't need recognition." I remembered laughing. My phone buzzed. "Why are you quiet?" my fiancé texted. I didn't reply. I looked at my bank statements again. No transfers from her after the divorce. No claims. Nothing. She left with nothing. I stood and paced. I remembered her brother's words. "You destroyed her." I remembered her calm voice. "You won't listen anyway." I finally understood why. Listening would have broken the illusion I lived in. The illusion that money made me strong. That control meant love. That silence meant weakness. I sat back down. I whispered, "I was wrong." No one heard. I wasn't ready to regret. Regret would ask forgiveness. Shame only asked truth. And the truth was simple. I didn't lose a wife. I discarded loyalty. And for the first time, I understood that no amount of money could ever buy it back. I can't believe this, I shouted, throwing papers across the boardroom. My fiancé leaned back, smiling. You should have handled it better. You leaked our plans. I asked. Plans? I only showed what was necessary, she replied. You always exaggerate. The board chair frowned. This information reached the wrong parties. I didn't authorize it. I said. You didn't notice, sir, he replied, but trust erodes fast. I clenched my fists. I'm still in control. You think so, he said quietly. After the meeting, I called my wife. Again. The line went straight to voicemail. Answer, I muttered. I stopped myself. I didn't need her help before. Now I did. I called again. Same result. At lunch, reporters swarmed. CEO exposed by fiancé, one shouted. How do you respond? I hesitated. It's under review. They laughed. Seems more than under review. I walked away. That night, I drove aimlessly, thinking of her. Her calm voice, the way she handled silence. I remembered the early days. You don't have to prove anything, she said once. I realized I had ignored every word. The next morning, I found her at a cafe, distant. I sat across. You look well. She smiled faintly. I've been taking care of myself. I wanted to apologize, I said. For ignoring. Don't, she said. There's nothing to fix. But, I started. You always have words, she interrupted. I have actions. I stared. You never said anything when I humiliated you. I chose silence, she said. Not because I was weak. I blinked. Then why? Because I was done explaining, she said. The words hit harder than any accusation. I opened my mouth. She sipped her coffee. You'll understand one day. I don't deserve this, I said. Not after everything. You deserved more than I gave you, she replied. And more than you gave yourself. I felt hollow. I need you now, I admitted quietly. She looked away. I'm not yours to need. I swallowed. I failed. Failed is a word you love, she said. You don't understand strength. I pressed my hands to my face. I don't understand anything. She leaned back. Then maybe listen, finally. I tried, I whispered. You only try when it's convenient, she said. I see that now, I admitted. Outside, a camera flashed. Media reporters crowded the cafe. CEO confronts ex-wife, one shouted. Do you care? She asked calmly. I do, I said. She smiled faintly. I stayed silent because I wanted peace. I destroyed it, I said. You destroyed illusions, she replied. Not me. Her words pierced deeper than anger. I wanted to apologize. Again. For everything. She stood. I have to go. I grabbed her hand. Please, just listen one last time. I have, she said. But I won't repeat it. I let go. I'm sorry. She nodded. Say it to yourself. That's enough. The reporters yelled. Flashbulbs lit our faces. I ignored them. She walked away. I stayed, staring at the empty chair. Later, at the office, the board chair said, Reputation suffers, sir. You were careless. I'm aware, I replied. Your fiancé's actions will be noted, he said. And consequences follow. I nodded. I'll handle it. No, I thought. I can't handle it. She handled everything silently. I did nothing. At my desk, my phone buzzed. Another message from her. You'll learn. I stared at it. I wanted to call, to beg, to explain. I didn't. Instead, I whispered, I see it now. I really see it. The silence that followed her departure weighed heavier than any confrontation, any media storm, or fiancé's mockery. For the first time, I realized the power I thought I held was already gone. The courtroom was silent when I walked in. Your Honor, I said, voice steady but tight. The judge looked up. You are here to respond to the allegations. Yes, I said. And to confess. A reporter whispered behind me. He's going to blame her wife. I shook my head. No. The fiancé smirked. Finally admitting the truth? I stared at her. I will admit mine first. The judge raised an eyebrow. Go ahead. I cleared my throat. I am responsible for every misstep, every humiliation, every manipulation that has come from me. I allowed personal ambition to cloud my judgment. A murmur ran through the audience. I humiliated my wife, I continued. I accused her falsely, I dismissed her loyalty, and I discarded her love. My fiancé scoffed. Look at him, dramatic as ever. I ignored her. She did not deserve it. She never asked for my money. She never sought recognition. She only ever protected me when I could not see it. The judge nodded slowly. Are you willing to state your involvement in the company's recent breaches? Yes, I said. But they were manipulated by someone else. Someone I trusted. All eyes turned to my fiancé. I presented confidential information as if it were necessary for progress. I lied, manipulated, and played a part in misleading investors and employees alike. She gasped. You can't. I cut her off. I can, and I will. She did not act alone. I allowed her to exploit my position. I allowed my ego to blind me to the consequences. A reporter scribbled furiously. CEO admits fiancé's wronged thing publicly. I lied to everyone, I said, voice rising. I presented a story of loyalty, wealth, and success while betraying the one person who truly trusted me. I am responsible for my actions. I take full accountability. The room shifted. Silence. The judge's voice was calm. Do you have any evidence of your claims? Yes, I said. Emails, messages, contracts, all manipulated by my fiancé to make me appear negligent. She tried to speak. You can't. I am speaking, I interrupted. I refuse to protect someone who exploited my ignorance. I admit my cruelty. I admit my pride. But I will not lie about her actions to protect my empire. A board member muttered. He's destroying everything he built. I looked at them all. Perhaps. But I will not destroy truth to save appearances. A reporter called out, Are you regretting this? I am not regretting truth, I said. I am regretting my own blindness for so long. My heart pounded. I thought of her. My wife. Calm, dignified, loyal. I whispered to myself, You deserved better. The judge leaned forward. Do you understand the consequences? Yes, I said. I know my empire may collapse. My reputation may crumble. But my conscience finally wakes up. A camera flashed. I ignored it. I heard a quiet voice from the audience. It's about time. I turned slightly. She was there. Watching. Stronger, distant, but listening. I swallowed. I hope one day you forgive me. She nodded once. Not a word. Enough. The judge sighed. Then your statement is on record. The court acknowledges your confession. I exhaled. Relief? Perhaps. Shame? Certainly. The fiancé slumped, furious. You've ruined everything. I've restored honesty, I said. Something I ignored for too long. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. I said nothing. I didn't care about headlines. I cared about the weight lifting inside me. A former employee approached. You finally did the right thing, he said softly. I nodded. It took losing everything to understand what mattered. The public audience murmured, symbolic of society judging silently. I felt the collapse beginning, investors leaving, contracts failing, but I didn't flinch. I whispered again, almost to myself, I am awake now. My phone buzzed. A message. Truth finally sees the light. I smiled faintly. Yes. It does. As I left the courthouse, I realized power had slipped away. My empire might crumble. My fiancé's lies were exposed. My wife remained distant. But for the first time, I carried no illusions. I had chosen truth over comfort, integrity over ego. The empire would fall. The world might judge me harshly. But I had finally chosen the man I wanted to be, not the man I thought I was. And that choice defined me. The apartment was quiet. No luxury. No applause. Just walls, empty except for what I needed. I stared at the papers on my desk. Letters I had written to her. Words I would never send. I see you now. I see everything you did for me. I am sorry I was blind. I crumpled one and threw it into the bin. The phone buzzed. It was my former fiancé. I need help, she pleaded. They're leaving, the investors, everyone, please.
I can't, I said.
You created this.
You'll regret it, she screamed. I hung up.
Relief and emptiness followed. Later, I ran into a former employee. You've kept yourself honest, he said. Not everyone can do that.
I don't feel proud, I replied.
I feel empty. He nodded. That's part of waking up. The months passed slowly. No board meetings. No applause. Just survival, and learning to face myself. One morning, the doorbell rang. I opened it. She stood there. Calm. Stronger. Healthier than I remembered.
Hello, I said.
I wasn't expecting. She smiled faintly. I came for closure. Closure?
I asked.
We've been apart for so long.
Yes, she said.
But I needed to see you, hear you, even if nothing changes.
I don't know what to say, I admitted.
You don't need to, she said. I just want to tell you, thank you. Thank me? I asked, confused. For finally seeing the truth, she said. Not just the words I spoke, but the actions I took. You finally saw me.
I swallowed.
My throat tightened. I didn't understand.
You didn't,
she replied softly. And that's why this hurts.
I looked at her.
Hurt?
Yes, she said.
Not hatred. Not anger. But truth is heavier than either. You finally saw, but it's too late for us. I began, but she raised a hand. Don't, she said. I'm not here to forgive, and you're not here to apologize. This is not reconciliation. This is closure. For me, and for you.
I nodded slowly.
I can accept that. She glanced at the letters scattered on my desk. You wrote to me.
I never sent them, I said.
I couldn't. She smiled faintly.
You didn't need to.
Writing them was enough. Admitting it to yourself is what mattered. I remembered every sacrifice she had made. The debts she paid. The medical bills. The quiet support I ignored. I failed, I whispered. You did, she said. But at least you know now. That's more than many ever realize. I sank into the chair. I thought I could control everything. Money, people, outcomes. But I was wrong. You were, she said. And that is why I stayed silent. Not because I was weak, but because explaining myself to someone unwilling to listen wastes more than time. It wastes dignity. Her words pierced deeper than any insult could have. I want to fix things, I said. You can't, she said. You can rebuild yourself, but not me. Not the past. I understand, I whispered. I hope you do, she said. I truly do. We stood there in silence. I wanted to say more. Beg, explain, promise. But she didn't wait. She turned, walked to the elevator, and left. I closed the door slowly. Alone, I sank into the chair and finally allowed the weight to hit me. Not anger. Not regret. Not revenge. Just shame and understanding. Months of quiet living, months of watching my former fiancé spiral in greed and exposure, months of rebuilding slowly, honestly, had brought me here. I realized I hadn't lost her because I was defeated. I had lost her because I never valued what she truly gave. Her silence, her loyalty, her dignity. And that hurt more than hatred ever could. I picked up one of the unsent letters. I see you now. I see everything. I didn't send it. I didn't need to. I just let it sit there, a reminder of the truth I had finally learned. Karma doesn't rush. It waits. And when it comes, it doesn't yell. It just lets you see what you ignored for so long. I leaned back. Quiet, empty, alive. I had nothing, but I had everything I needed to finally wake up. I used to think success meant wealth, control, and admiration. I thought power was measured by influence, by fear, by headlines. I was wrong. Sitting in my modest apartment, I realized what matters. The phone buzzed. A board member's number. Sir, he said. An investor wants to offer you a stake. Large sum. Almost a bribe. I'm not interested, I said immediately. Are you sure? He asked. It could save the company. I laughed softly. No. It won't save me, or anyone else. I don't need saving like that. But the empire. It's gone, I said. Let it go. He hesitated. You're not worried? No, I replied. I'm awake now. That's more than I ever was before. I hung up. Months of living quietly, rebuilding slowly, taught me what loyalty and integrity really mean. I thought I needed admiration. Now, I crave nothing but honesty. I look at the unsent letters on my desk. I see you. I understand now. I am sorry I ignored everything you did. I never sent them. They're reminders, not confessions. I walk to the window. Sunlight spills across the room. No grandeur, no luxury. Just light. I remember her face. Calm, strong, distant. The day she thanked me for finally seeing her truth. It hurt. More than anger ever could. I remember my fiancé spiraling. I remember my empire crumbling. I remember the courtroom. I also remember sitting alone, realizing I didn't lose a wife. I discarded loyalty. And now, I'm quiet. Not because I am defeated, but because I understand. I dial my former assistant. Hello? She asks, cautiously. I wanted to check in, I say. How are things? Stable, she says. You? Learning, I admit. Living honestly. Slowly. She laughs lightly. That suits you. It does, I say. And I'm grateful. After I hang up, I think about forgiveness. Not for others. For myself. I whisper, I forgive you. The words feel strange at first. Heavy. But necessary. I don't forget my mistakes. I don't erase them. I remember humiliating her. Ignoring her sacrifices. Believing money could buy loyalty. I remember signing divorce papers carelessly. Believing I was freeing myself. I remember allowing my fiancé to manipulate me. And how I celebrated it. I remember every misstep. Every cruel word. Every ignored warning. And now, I forgive. Myself. Because self-awareness is harder than revenge. I walk into the kitchen. A man in a suit knocks on the door. Sir, he says. Would like to invest in your company. Terms favorable. Large sum. I don't want it, I say. He frowns. It could rebuild everything. Restore control. I said no, I repeat. Integrity matters more than control. Truth matters more than empire. He hesitates. Are you sure you understand the consequences? Yes, I say. And I accept them. He leaves. I close the door. Silence fills the room. I take a deep breath. I walk over to the letters again. I see you. I understand now. I smile faintly. Not at her, not at myself, but at the man I've become. I thought losing everything would destroy me. It didn't. It rebuilt me. I remember when I used to measure life by applause, by admiration, by money. Now, I measure it by honesty, by loyalty, by clarity. I look at my reflection in the window. The face is older, heavier with experience. Not regret. Not shame. Awareness. Acceptance. I sit at the desk and write, not letters to her, but plans for myself. Small steps. Honest decisions. Things I can control without hurting others. I smile faintly, thinking of her. Of what I lost. Of what I discarded. And I understand, some losses are permanent. And deserved. I don't try to reclaim her. I don't wish her back. I want something harder. Self-awareness. I hear a knock at the door. A neighbor, casually friendly. Coffee, she asks. I nod. Yes. We sit. We talk quietly. About life, about small things. I laugh. A real laugh. For the first time in years, I feel grounded. Later, I step outside. The street is alive. The city moving. Cars, people, voices. I walk slowly, noticing everything. Smell of fresh bread, children laughing, sunlight on the pavement. I pass a man offering money for favors, a shortcut to influence. I stop. I don't want it, I whisper, more to myself than anyone else. He frowns. You'll regret that. Not this time, I say. I keep walking. Not rich. Not admired. Not feared. But awake. And I know, I didn't win her back. I didn't reclaim power. I won myself. And that is harder, rarer, and more lasting than anything I thought I needed. I walk into the sunset quietly, carrying every lesson, every loss, every truth. The man I was is gone. The man I became walks forward, unafraid.